My sister revealed she was expecting during my child's birthday party and insisted on taking my nursery since I had money to spare. My parents sided with her, branding me selfish. So I cleared the room and listed the house. They discovered the for sale sign while dragging in her boxes. Did you ever have a moment where everything you thought you knew about your family, about yourself, just shattered?
I did.
It happened while I was holding a cake knife, about to help my daughter, Maya, blow out the candle on her very first birthday cake. My own sister, Chloe, decided that was the perfect moment to drop a bombshell. The air in our home that day was supposed to be sweet with cake and laughter. Instead, it became thick with disbelief, a silent, suffocating shroud that fell the instant she walked in. It was a day etched in my memory, not for the joy, but for the stark turning point it became in my life. For 32 years Nora, had been the responsible one. The good daughter, the reliable sister. While Chloe careened from one crisis to the next, leaving a trail of chaos for our parents to clean up, I was the one who always had her act together. But that day, watching her, radiant in a flowing white dress that screamed pregnancy announcement, a dress suspiciously like the one you'd wear to actually announce a pregnancy, something inside me finally snapped. Everyone, I have amazing news. Chloe's voice cut through the happy birthday song like a razor. My hands froze on the cake knife. 20 pairs of eyes, just moments ago fixed on my beautiful Maya in her pink tutu, now darted to my beaming sister. I'm pregnant. The collective gasps and squeals were immediate. My mother burst into tears, rushing to embrace Chloe. My father stood there, grinning like he'd won the lottery. I felt Olivia, my best friend, squeeze my shoulder, a silent anchor in the sudden storm. Mama? Maya's tiny voice brought me back to earth. She sat in her high chair, utterly confused by the sudden shift in attention, her chubby fingers reaching for the rainbow sprinkle cake we'd spent hours perfecting. Just a minute, sweetie, I managed, forcing a smile that felt brittle. Looks like Aunt Chloe has some big news. Oh my God, this is just perfect timing, my mother gushed, still clutching Chloe. Now the cousins will be so close in age. Chloe untangled herself, then floated towards me. That familiar, calculating glint in her eyes, the one that always preceded a request. Actually, Nora, she began, I've been thinking. Here we go. My internal monologue was already sighing. You know how Brendan and I are still trying to figure out our living situation. She gestured vaguely towards her on-again, off-again boyfriend, who was busy stuffing his face with chips in the corner. Well, your house has that beautiful nursery you designed for Maya. I gripped the cake knife tighter. What about it? Well, Maya's getting bigger now, and you have that spare room upstairs that would make such a cute big girl room for her. Chloe's voice took on that wheedling tone I knew too well. Maybe you could let me have the nursery. You can just build another one upstairs. The room went quiet, save for Maya's soft babbling. I could feel Olivia tensing beside me, ready to jump in. I subtly held up a hand. Let me get this straight, I said, my voice eerily calm, perhaps a little too calm. You want me to give you my nursery? The one I spent months designing and decorating for my daughter? Well, yeah, Chloe brightened, completely mistaking my tone for agreement. It makes perfect sense. You're established. You're doing so well with your job, and I really need the help right now. Brendan's between opportunities and… You mean he's unemployed again? Olivia muttered under her breath. Nora, my mother cut in, her tone laced with urgency. Your sister needs family support right now. You know how hard pregnancy can be, especially when you're… She paused, glancing at Brendan, dealing with various challenges. My father nodded sagely. It would really help your sister out, Nora. And you've always been so good at handling things. I looked around the room. My parents' expectant faces. Brendan's disinterested slouch. Chloe's practiced pout. Then, I looked at Maya, still waiting patiently for her cake, trusting that Mama would make everything right. Something shifted inside me. Years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who always gave in, it all crystallized into a diamond-hard resolve. I smiled, a cold smile that didn't reach my eyes. Of course, Chloe. You can bring her things next weekend. Chloe squealed and hugged me while our parents beamed with approval. Only Olivia looked concerned, knowing me well enough to recognize the danger in my tone. Now, I said, turning back to my daughter. Let's cut this cake, shall we? As everyone gathered around to sing again, I caught Olivia's questioning look. I gave her a slight nod, one that said, "Watch me. Just watch what happens next." Because what my dear family didn't know was that I'd finally learned something important. Sometimes being the responsible one means taking responsibility for your own happiness. And sometimes that means burning it all down. I helped Maya blow out her candle, already planning how to light a much bigger fire. You're not seriously considering giving her the nursery, are you? Olivia set down her coffee mug with enough force to make the cafe table rattle. 3 days had passed since the birthday party disaster, and my best friend's patience was wearing thinner than mine. Of course not, I replied, stirring my latte absently. But you should have seen the texts I got this morning. Chloe's already picking out paint colors. Olivia pulled out her phone. Show me. I handed over mine, watching her scroll through the endless stream of messages from my sister. Pictures of cribs, wallpaper samples, and nursery themes flooded the screen, interspersed with comments like, "This is exactly what I want, and we should start moving things out this weekend." Jesus, Olivia muttered. She really thinks she's getting your house, doesn't she? A memory flashed through my mind. Chloe, 16, taking my prom dress without asking because she needed it more for her junior formal. Me standing in my closet, finding the dress returned with wine stains and a torn hem. Remember when she worked for me? I asked, watching a young mother at the next table trying to wrangle her toddler. 3 months at my company, and she nearly cost us our biggest client because she couldn't be bothered to show up on time. And your parents said you were being too hard on her, Olivia finished. Because she was going through a rough patch with what's-his-name? Kevin, I supplied. Before Brendan, after Paul, but before Ryan, the one you paid rent for? No, that was Mark. Kevin was the one you bailed out of jail after he got drunk and tried to steal a police horse. I laughed, but it came out hollow. God, I sound like a human idiom, don't I? Olivia leaned forward. Nora, honey, you're not an ATM. You're a doormat. And I say that with love. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother. Chloe's so excited about the nursery. We should all go shopping this weekend. Your father and I can help with the renovation costs for Maya's new room. I showed Olivia the message. Her eyes narrowed. They really think they can just redistribute your house? They've been redistributing my life since I was old enough to have something worth taking. The words came out sharper than I intended. When I got my first job at 16, guess who had to share her paychecks? When I got my college acceptance letters, guess who had to defer a year so Chloe could have her dream gap year in Europe, which she quit after 3 weeks? And who paid for the emergency flight home? Olivia added. This girl. I raised my hand like a student answering a question. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a real estate listing from Claire, my agent. A beautiful 3-bedroom condo across town, newly renovated, with a view of the park. Olivia peered at the screen. What's that about? I stood up, gathering my things. That's my next appointment. Want to come see what karma looks like? 20 minutes later, we stood in an empty living room flooded with natural light. Claire, clipboard in hand, watched me run my fingers along the smooth quartz countertops in the kitchen. The sellers are motivated, she said. They consider a quick close if the offer's right. I walked to the smaller bedroom, already picturing Maya's toys scattered across the hardwood floors. It was smaller than her current nursery, but it had a window seat perfect for reading stories. Nora. Olivia called from the master bedroom. Come look at this view. I joined her at the window, taking in the sprawling park below. No shared walls with entitled siblings. No space for family to crash indefinitely. Just peace. What about your house? Olivia asked quietly. I pulled out my phone, showing her the text I'd drafted to Claire earlier. List it. Price it to sell fast, and don't tell anyone in my family. Claire appeared in the doorway, her professional mask cracking slightly to reveal a smile. Are we doing this? I thought about Chloe's white dress at the party, about Maya's confused face when her special day was hijacked, about 32 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the good daughter. It's go time, I whispered, hitting send on the text. Olivia wrapped an arm around my shoulders. You know they're going to lose their minds, right? I watched a young couple playing with their dog in the park below, free and happy in their own space. Maybe it's time they learned what it feels like to lose something they thought they were entitled to. Shall I draw up the paperwork? Claire asked. I nodded, feeling lighter than I had in years. Make it ironclad. No family discounts this time. The nursery looked different in the harsh light of my phone's camera. Each click captured another piece of evidence, proof that this room had been lovingly created for Maya, not commandeered as a gift for Chloe. Claire had suggested documenting everything before the sale listing went live. And this is where the changing table used to be, I narrated quietly, panning across the mint green wall with its hand-painted butterflies, before I moved it to make room for the free sign I'm about to put on it. A soft knock at the door made me jump. Nora, honey, are you home? My mother's voice. Of course. I quickly shut off the camera and shoved my phone in my pocket. Coming. I opened the front door to find both my parents standing there, matching concerned expressions on their faces. My father held a takeout bag from my favorite Thai place, their standard peace offering. We brought lunch, my mother said, already pushing past me into the house, and we wanted to talk about Chloe's nursery. I bit back a correction. Not Chloe's nursery. Never Chloe's nursery. Instead, I smiled. Perfect timing. I was just organizing things upstairs. They followed me to the kitchen where my mother immediately began unpacking containers of pad thai and green curry. My father settled into his usual chair, the one that would be gone in less than a week. So, my mother started, sliding a container toward me. Chloe's been showing me some lovely ideas for the room. She's thinking of a woodland theme, very gender-neutral, since they don't know what they're having yet. I stabbed a piece of chicken with my fork. That sounds nice. We know this is a big change, my father added. But your mother and I have been talking. We'd like to help with the renovation costs for Maya's new room. Make it really special for her. That's so generous, I said, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. But actually, I've been thinking about Chloe's situation. My mother perked up. Oh, you're right. She needs support right now. And this house, well, it has so much space. Too much space, really, for just Maya and me. I watched their faces light up with approval and felt a twisted satisfaction. I've decided to make some changes to help accommodate everyone. Oh, Nora. My mother reached across the table to squeeze my hand. I knew you'd understand. You've always been so practical. A thump from upstairs made us all look up. Maya, waking from her nap. I'll get her, I said quickly. But my mother was already standing. Let me. I want to see my grandbaby. I listened to her footsteps on the stairs, counting the seconds until she'd reached the nursery. The nursery where half the furniture was already gone, carefully documented and stored in a rental unit across town. The realtor thinks it'll sell within days, I whispered to myself. What was that, honey? My father asked. Nothing. Just thinking out loud about paint samples. My mother's voice drifted down from upstairs. Nora, where's the rocking chair? Oh, I moved it, I called back, making space for Chloe's things. I heard Maya's happy babbling as my mother brought her downstairs. My daughter took one look at me and announced, "Bye-bye house." My heart stopped. What does she mean, bye-bye house? My mother asked, settling Maya into her high chair. I forced a laugh. Oh, you know toddlers. She's been saying that to everything lately. Bye-bye spoon. Bye-bye cup. It's her new favorite phrase. My father chuckled, but my mother's eyes narrowed slightly. I busied myself, wiping invisible crumbs from the counter. When did you say Chloe could start moving things in? She asked. Next weekend. I replied smoothly. I thought we could make a day of it. Get everyone to help. That's wonderful. My mother's suspicion evaporated. I'll call Chloe right now. She'll be so excited. As she stepped into the living room to make the call, my father leaned in close. You're doing the right thing, Nora. Family has to stick together. I nodded, thinking of the offer Claire had texted me this morning. 30,000 over asking price. Cash buyers willing to close in 10 days. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Claire again. Offer accepted. I glanced at my parents, my mother gushing into her phone, my father contentedly eating his lunch, both so certain of their right to redistribute my life. Both so sure I would never say no. Take it, I typed back. Maya caught my eye from her high chair and grinned. Bye-bye, house, she said again, waving her little hand. I smiled back, my heart racing with equal parts guilt and liberation. That's right, baby girl, I whispered. Bye-bye, house, and bye-bye to a whole lot more. You're evil, Olivia laughed, slapping another Chloe's Things label on an empty box. Pure evil. I love it. We'd spent the afternoon filling boxes with old newspapers, making them look convincingly heavy. Each one was carefully labeled. Chloe's books, Chloe's winter clothes, Chloe's kitchen stuff. The moving company would be here tomorrow to take my actual belongings to the new condo. But these decoy boxes would stay, completing the illusion that I was making space for my sister. The best part, I said, taping up another box. Chloe texted asking if she could store some things here early. I told her there was plenty of room. Does she have any actual things to store? Nope. But she'll show up with Brendan's gaming console and 3 trash bags of laundry, just like last time. Olivia snorted. How many times has she temporarily moved in with you? 4. I checked my phone. No. 5. I forgot about the time she got kicked out of that yoga instructor's apartment. The one she was dating while still living with Ryan? That's the one. Maya toddled past us, dragging her favorite stuffed elephant. Bye-bye, house, she called out cheerfully. Olivia and I froze. Nora. My mother's voice came from the front door. Nora, are you home? Quick. I hissed, shoving the empty boxes behind the couch. Act natural. My mother appeared in the doorway just as Olivia sprawled dramatically across the floor, pretending to play with Maya. Oh, look who's here. My mother cooed at Maya, who immediately ran to her grandmother. And Olivia, too. Are you helping Nora organize? You know me, Olivia replied smoothly. Always happy to help with family stuff. My mother's eyes swept the room, taking in the stack of labeled boxes. Oh, good. You're making space for Chloe. She's so excited about moving in. She's already ordered a crib. I felt my eye twitch. She ordered a crib? Yes, it's being delivered next week. I hope that's okay. She used your address since she's staying with Brendan right now and his places. She wrinkled her nose. Not exactly delivery-friendly. Perfect, I said through gritted teeth. Just perfect. Bye-bye, house, Maya announced again. My mother frowned. She's still saying that. Nora, do you think she's picking up on some anxiety about the changes? Maybe we should have a family meeting to discuss the transition. No, Olivia and I said simultaneously. I recovered quickly. There's no need. Everything's under control. We're all very excited about Chloe moving in, right, Olivia? Olivia's smile could have cracked glass. So excited. Well, I just stopped by to drop off these paint samples Chloe picked out. My mother placed a fan of color swatches on the coffee table. She's thinking mint green might be too basic. She was thinking more of a royal purple. I thought about the mint green walls I'd spent weeks perfecting. The ones currently being photographed for the listing. How unique. Bye-bye, house, Maya said again, pointing at the window where thankfully the for sale sign hadn't been installed yet. My mother gathered her purse. I should go. Your father's making dinner tonight. But Chloe might stop by later to measure the windows for curtains. After she left, Olivia and I collapsed onto the couch. That was close, she breathed. But Nora, you have to do something about Maya's new catchphrase before she blows your cover. I know. I picked up my daughter, who immediately started playing with my hair. But she's not wrong. We are saying bye-bye to the house and to the family's endless expectations. My phone buzzed. A text from Claire. Sign installation tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. sharp. You ready for this? Olivia asked softly. Once that sign goes up, there's no going back. I looked around at the stage boxes, the paint samples, the space that had never really been mine because my family had always felt entitled to it. Then I looked at my daughter, innocent and happy, unaware that her mother was about to burn every bridge we'd ever crossed. You know what the worst part is? I said, bouncing Maya on my knee. They're so convinced I'll never say no that they're not even bothering to ask permission anymore. They're just taking. Not for much longer, Olivia reminded me. My phone buzzed again. Chloe, this time. Found the perfect chandelier for my nursery. Ordering it now. You don't mind if they deliver it there next week, right? Love you. I showed Olivia the text. She raised an eyebrow. Want me to help you stack more empty boxes? Yes, I said, setting Maya down. And then we're going to practice saying a new phrase. Right, baby girl? Maya looked up at me with her big brown eyes. Bye-bye, house. No, sweetie. This time we're saying bye-bye, Chloe. I watched through my living room window as Chloe's rented U-Haul truck pulled into my driveway. Right on schedule. My sister sat in the passenger seat, one hand resting on her barely visible baby bump, while Brendan attempted a three-point turn that nearly took out my mailbox. My parents' car pulled in right behind them. Ready? Olivia whispered from beside me. She'd insisted on being here for moral support, though I suspected it was more for the entertainment value. Almost. I checked my phone. The movers had finished clearing out my actual belongings hours ago. The new condo was ready. Maya was safely at daycare. Everything was in place, just waiting for the perfect moment. Outside, Chloe hopped down from the truck, her face lighting up at the sight of the nursery furniture I'd carefully arranged on the curb with a large free sign. My mother was already heading for the front door, key ring in hand. The key I'd conveniently forgotten to ask her to return months ago. The doorbell rang. Places, I muttered to Olivia, who retreated to the kitchen with her phone ready to record. I opened the door to find my entire family on the porch, beaming like they'd just won a prize. We're here, Chloe announced, pushing past me into the house. Brendan, grab those boxes by the door. They're labeled for the nursery. Mom, did you bring the paint samples? And Nora, we need to talk about that chandelier delivery. She stopped dead in her tracks. The entrance hall was completely empty. No boxes, no furniture, no pictures on the walls. Nora? My mother's voice wavered. What's going on? I smiled sweetly. Oh, did I forget to mention? The house has been sold. The silence that followed was deafening. What? Chloe's voice came out as a squeak. The house is sold. I pointed to the massive for sale sign in the front yard, now sporting a bright red sold sticker across it. Closing is next week. But, Chloe's face went from confusion to rage in record time. You can't sell the house. What about the nursery? What about my baby? Your baby? I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You mean the baby you're having with your unemployed boyfriend for whom you expected me to give up my daughter's nursery? That baby. Nora. My father stepped forward, using his reasonable voice. Let's talk about this. You can't just make decisions like this without consulting the family. Actually, I can. It's my house, my name on the deed, my mortgage payments, my decision. Chloe burst into tears, the dramatic wailing kind she'd perfected since childhood. How could you do this to me? I'm pregnant. Where am I supposed to go? Not my problem. I gestured to the furniture on the curb. But feel free to take the nursery set. Consider it my baby shower gift. My mother grabbed my arm. Nora, stop this nonsense right now. You're being cruel. Cruel. I pulled away from her grip. Cruel is hijacking my daughter's first birthday party to announce a pregnancy. Cruel is assuming you can just take over my home because Chloe needs another handout. Cruel is never, ever asking what I want or need because you're all too busy taking. But we're family, Chloe sobbed. No, I said quietly. We're not. We're just people who share DNA and a long history of me giving while you take. Brendan, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. So, we drove this U-Haul out here for nothing? Not nothing. Olivia called from the kitchen doorway, phone still recording. There's some lovely free furniture on the curb. Better hurry though, I posted it on Facebook Marketplace an hour ago. As if on cue, a car pulled up to the curb and a young couple started loading the changing table into their SUV. This isn't over, Chloe hissed, mascara running down her face. You'll regret this. I doubt it. I opened the front door wider. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to finish packing. The new owners want to do a final walkthrough tomorrow. Nora, please. My mother tried one last time. We can work this out. I thought about all the times I'd given into that plea. All the times I'd sacrificed my own needs to work things out for Chloe. Not anymore. The house was mine, I said calmly. I sold it. Have a nice move. I closed the door on their shocked faces, listening to Chloe's wails turn to angry screams outside. Through the window, I watched as another car pulled up for the free furniture while my family stood frozen in disbelief. Olivia stopped recording and gave me a high five. That was beautiful. It's not over, I said, hearing Chloe kick the U-Haul's tire in frustration. They'll be back. Let them come, Olivia grinned. We've got it all on video. Outside, the sold sign gleamed in the afternoon sun, a beacon of my liberation. And somewhere across town, in a peaceful condo overlooking a park, my daughter's new room was waiting. Free of family drama, free of manipulation, and most importantly, free of Chloe. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing for 3 days. I scrolled through the messages while Maya napped in her new room, the afternoon sun streaming through the park view windows. You've reached a new low, read my aunt's text. Your poor sister is devastated. How could you do this to your family? Demanded my cousin. Your father is heartbroken, my mother wrote. He had to take a day off work. The voicemails were worse. Nora, it's mom again. Chloe's been throwing up from stress. If anything happens to this baby, it's on you. Call me back. Hey sis, it's me. My lawyer says what you did could be considered emotional distress. Just letting you know. Olivia sat across from me at my new kitchen island, reading the messages over my shoulder. Your sister has a lawyer now? She dated one for 2 weeks last year. He gave her his card when she keyed his car. Of course he did. Olivia grabbed my phone. That's it. We're blocking them all. Wait. I reached for the phone, but Olivia held it away. No waiting. Look at you. You haven't slept properly since the move. You jump every time your phone buzzes. This isn't healthy. She was right. I'd spent 3 nights lying awake, replaying the looks on their faces when they saw the sold sign. The way Chloe's voice cracked when she realized I wasn't joking. My father's disappointed headshake. I swallowed hard. Part of me still wants them to understand, to finally see things from my perspective. They won't, Olivia said gently. They've had 32 years to see your perspective. They're not going to start now. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Chloe posting on Facebook. Some people think money and success give them the right to destroy families. Karma will come for those who hurt pregnant women. Hashtag toxic betrayal, hashtag family trauma. The comments flooded in immediately. Stay strong, girl. Some sisters are just jealous of new babies. Can't believe anyone would do this to their pregnant sister. Olivia made a disgusted noise. Oh, that's rich coming from the woman who announced her pregnancy at her niece's first birthday party. A knock at the door made us both jump. Through the peephole, I saw Brendan shifting awkwardly in the hallway. Should I call security? Olivia whispered. I shook my head and opened the door. What do you want, Brendan? He looked worse than usual, unshaven, wearing a wrinkled t-shirt with what looked like yesterday's pizza stains. She's staying at my place and losing her mind. You broke her, Nora. I broke her. I laughed incredulously. She tried to take my house. Look, I get it wasn't cool how she asked, but asked? I cut him off.
She didn't ask.
She announced it at my daughter's birthday party and expected me to just hand over my home, just like she's expected me to hand over everything else her entire life. Brendan ran a hand through his greasy hair. She's pregnant, man. With my kid. We need help. Then help her yourself. Get a job. Be an actual partner instead of another problem for her to dump on me. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I stepped into the hallway, closing the door so Maya wouldn't wake up. For years, I've watched Chloe bounce between guys like you. Men who think their problems are everyone else's responsibility. And every time she crashes and burns, guess who's to clean up the mess? Not anymore. She's your sister, and I'm done being her safety net. I pulled out my phone, showing him Chloe's Facebook post. Tell her if she wants to talk about karma, she should remember every rent check I covered, every crisis I solved, every time I put her first. Then she can talk about karma. Brendan's face hardened. Chloe's right. You're just jealous because she's having a baby and you're alone. I laughed so hard I had to lean against the wall. I have a beautiful daughter, a successful career, and now a peaceful home where no one can guilt me into fixing their lives. Trust me, I'm not jealous. He opened his mouth to argue, but Olivia appeared in the doorway. I believe my friend asked you to leave. After he skulked away, Olivia handed me back my phone. Ready to block them now. I looked at the screen. 3 more missed calls from my mother, 2 texts from Chloe, and a group chat message from my father asking the extended family to pray for Nora's heart to soften. Do it, I said. Block them all. As Olivia systematically blocked every family contact, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Through the window, I could see the park where I'd take Maya to play later. No drama, no guilt, no manipulation. There, Olivia announced, handing back my phone. Now it's just you, me, and that bottle of wine I brought to celebrate your freedom. From the bedroom, I heard Maya stirring from her nap. Make that you, me, Maya, and wine. Perfect combination, Olivia smiled. The only family you need. I can't believe I let you talk me into this, I muttered to Olivia as we sat in the neutral territory of her apartment, waiting for Chloe to arrive. 2 weeks had passed since the moving day showdown, and my sister had finally agreed to meet, but only with Olivia mediating. She needs to hear it, Olivia said, arranging coffee cups on the table. And you need to say it. All of it. The doorbell rang exactly on time. A first for Chloe, who'd never been punctual in her life. When Olivia opened the door, my sister walked in looking like she'd dressed for a funeral. Black maternity dress, dark circles under her eyes, one hand protectively over her barely showing stomach. Nora. Her voice was cold. Chloe, mine was colder. Olivia gestured to the couch. Let's all sit down. Coffee? Tea? I can't have caffeine, Chloe sniffed. Because of the baby. Not that some people care about that. Water it is, Olivia said cheerfully, though I caught her eye roll. We sat in awkward silence until Olivia cleared her throat. Chloe, you wanted to talk, so talk. Chloe's lower lip trembled. I just want to understand how you could be so evil. Taking away my baby's future home. Your baby's future home? I interrupted. You mean my house? The one I bought. The one I've been paying for. We're family. Chloe's voice rose. Family helps each other. Like you helped me when Maya was born. I leaned forward. Oh, wait. You didn't. You were too busy backpacking through Thailand with what's-his-name. That's not fair. I was finding myself. While I was changing diapers and working 60-hour weeks alone. Chloe's face crumpled. I'm trying to do better now. I want to be a good mom like you. I thought you'd help me by giving you my house, by sharing, by being a sister. Tears spilled down her cheeks. But you're just selfish and bitter and selfish. I stood up so fast my coffee cup rattled. Let's talk about selfish, Chloe. Let's talk about the time you maxed out my credit card buying festival tickets. Or when you borrowed my car and got 3 parking tickets you never paid. Or how about when you got fired from the job I got you because you were too hungover to show up? I was going through things. You're always going through things. And I'm always expected to fix them. I was shouting now. Years of suppressed rage finally breaking free. Do you know what it's like to be the responsible one? To watch your sister wreck everything she touches while everyone expects you to clean up the mess? When was the last time you asked about my life, about Maya? When was the last time you showed up for anyone but yourself? Chloe stood too, mascara running down her face. You think you're so perfect, Miss Independent with her perfect job and perfect house and perfect life? Well, guess what? Some of us struggle. Some of us need help. Help is one thing. Entitlement is another. I took a deep breath. I finally realized something, Chloe. None of you ever loved me unconditionally. You only loved what I could give. The room went silent, except for Chloe's ragged breathing. That's not true, she whispered. No? Then name one time, just one, when you put my needs before yours. Chloe opened her mouth, then closed it. Her hand drifted to her stomach again. A gesture that once would have made me cave, would have sent me rushing to fix everything. Not anymore. I have something now that I own completely, I said quietly. Peace. And I won't let you take that, too. So that's it. Chloe's voice cracked. You're just done with me? With all of us. I'm done being the family aita. I'm done being the responsible one who has to sacrifice everything. I'm done watching you take and take and take. Olivia, who'd been silent throughout our exchange, finally spoke. Chloe, I think it's time for you to go. My sister gathered her purse with shaking hands. At the door, she turned back. You'll regret this. When my baby's born and you're not in their life. No, I cut her off. You'll regret this. When your baby's born and you finally understand what it means to be responsible for someone else's happiness, when you realize that burning bridges has consequences. She stared at me for a long moment, then left without another word. Through the window, I watched her walk to her car alone, probably for the first time in her life. Olivia touched my shoulder. You okay? I wiped away tears I hadn't realized were falling. No, but I will be. Want to go get Maya from daycare and take her to the park? I nodded, thinking of my daughter's innocent smile, her unconditional love. Yeah, let's go home. Because that's what I had now. Not just a house, but a real home. One built on my terms, free from the weight of toxic family obligations. Hiya, Mama. Maya squealed as I pushed her on the park swing. The autumn breeze carried the sound of her laughter across the playground, mixing with the rustle of falling leaves. My phone buzzed in my pocket, probably another blocked message from my family. They'd taken to creating new accounts just to tell me how cruel I was. I'd gotten good at blocking those, too. Nora? A familiar voice made me turn. Chloe stood at the edge of the playground, her pregnancy now clearly visible under a loose sweater. She looked different, tired, but somehow more real than I'd ever seen her. I slowed Maya's swing. What are you doing here? I live nearby now, actually. She gestured to a small apartment building across from the park. Brendan and I broke up. I got a job at the coffee shop downstairs. That explained why she looked different. She was wearing a barista's apron instead of her usual designer clothes. You're working? I couldn't keep the surprise from my voice. Yeah. She smiled weakly. Turns out when you can't rely on someone else to fix everything, you have to fix it yourself. Maya pointed at Chloe's belly. Baby. That's right, sweetie, Chloe said softly. Your cousin's in there. I helped Maya out of the swing. Why are you here, Chloe? I had my first ultrasound yesterday. She pulled a grainy black and white photo from her apron pocket. It's a girl. And it made me think about Mom, about how she always played us against each other, about how I let her do it because it was easier than growing up. I sat on the empty swing, pushing myself slightly with one foot while Maya played in the sand nearby. Did Mom send you? No. She doesn't know I'm here. She's still on my side. She's still Mom, but I'm trying not to be, well, me. What does that mean? It means I'm sorry. The words came out in a rush. Not just for the house thing, for everything. For being the hurricane that blew through your life, expecting you to rebuild everything I destroyed. I studied her face, looking for the manipulation I'd grown so used to seeing. Instead, I found something new. Accountability. The thing is, she continued, when Brendan left and Mom started talking about me moving back home, I realized I was about to do to my daughter what Mom did to us. Make her part of this cycle of dependency, of never growing up. So, you got a job instead and an apartment. It's tiny and the elevator doesn't work and I have to make coffee for rude people at 6 a.m. But she straightened her apron. It's mine. I did it myself. Maya ran over with a handful of sand, proudly showing it to both of us before letting it slip through her fingers. I'm not asking for anything, Chloe said quickly. I want my daughter to know her cousin, to know what strength looks like. Because that's what you are, Nora. Strong, not cruel like Mom says. Strong. I watched Maya playing, thinking about all the times I'd wished for this, for Chloe to finally see me. Really see me. There's a coffee shop near my condo, too, I said finally. Are they treating you better at yours? Chloe laughed. A real laugh, not her usual practiced giggle. The tips are decent, and my manager says I'm getting better at not burning the lattes. Maya and I usually get hot chocolate there on Sunday mornings around 9 o'clock. She caught her breath. Yeah. And sometimes we feed the ducks after when we're not too busy. I'd like that. She wiped her eyes. God, these pregnancy hormones are killer. Tell me about it, I said. I cried at a paper towel commercial when I was pregnant with Maya. We shared a smile. Small, tentative, but real. I should get back to work, Chloe said, adjusting her apron. But Sunday? I nodded. Sunday. As she walked away, Maya waved. Bye-bye, baby. You know what, sweetie? I scooped her up, breathing in her baby's shampoo smell. I think we just said hello instead. That evening, as I tucked Maya into bed in our cozy condo, I thought about karma. Everyone had expected it to look like revenge, like my family getting what they deserved. Instead, it looked like Chloe in an apron, learning to stand on her own like me, learning to set boundaries without burning every bridge. Sometimes karma isn't about monsters getting punished. Sometimes it's about people finally facing themselves in the mirror. I kissed Maya's forehead and whispered, "Sweet dreams, baby girl." Because that's what I'd really bought when I sold that house. Not just peace, but the chance for a new story. One where strength didn't mean carrying everyone else's burdens and family didn't mean sacrificing yourself. One where bye-bye house meant hello to something better. You know what, sweetie? I scooped her up, breathing in her baby shampoo smell. I think we just said hello instead. That quiet exchange, after weeks of emotional warfare, felt like a deep breath after being underwater for too long. It wasn't a sudden, magical fix, not by a long shot. But that small, tentative smile Chloe and I shared, it was a start. A fragile, uncertain start, but a start nonetheless. That Sunday morning, the air crackled with a nervous energy I couldn't quite shake. Olivia had called, practically buzzing with excitement, promising to join us a little later. It's a big step, Nora, she'd said. Don't let her backslide. And don't you dare let your guard down entirely. I knew she was right. Years of history don't just vanish with one park bench conversation. But as I dressed Maya in her little duck-embroidered sweater, my stomach fluttered with something that felt surprisingly like hope. We arrived at the coffee shop a few minutes early. It was small, cozy, and smelled deliciously of roasted beans and warm pastries. I ordered a latte and a hot chocolate for Maya, who was already enthralled by the display of colorful muffins. Then I saw her, Chloe, pushing through the glass door, her apron still on, hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. She looked different. Less polished, perhaps, but also less performative. There was a faint smudge of coffee on her cheek, and her eyes, though still carrying a shadow of fatigue, held a new kind of alertness. "Hey," she said, approaching our table, a shy smile touching her lips. She didn't launch into a dramatic apology or an emotional confession. She just sat down, quietly, across from me. "Hey," I replied, feeling a surprising ease in the simple greeting. Maya, bless her innocent heart, immediately pointed at Chloe's stomach. "Baby," she chirped. Chloe's smile widened, a genuine, unguarded beam. "That's right, sweetie. Your cousin." She pulled out the grainy ultrasound photo again, showing it to Maya, who promptly tried to eat it. We both laughed, and in that moment, The years of resentment and bitterness seemed to recede, if only a little. We talked, slowly at first, about Maya's latest milestones, about the weather, about the best way to get milk stains out of a new uniform. Then, Chloe started opening up about her new job. She confessed to burning a few lattes, to dropping a tray of muffins, to struggling with the early morning shifts. But there was also a quiet pride in her voice as she described learning how to make the perfect foam art, the satisfaction of a grateful customer. She wasn't asking for help. She was just sharing. And that, in itself, was revolutionary. Olivia arrived shortly after, coffee in hand, assessing the scene with a subtle but thorough gaze. She offered Chloe a polite but firm hello, her presence a silent reminder of the boundaries we had painstakingly built. Chloe didn't flinch. She just nodded, acknowledged Olivia, and continued to talk about her day, about figuring out her bus route, about trying to stick to a budget. When it was time to feed the ducks, the three of us, plus Maya, walked to the pond in the park. It was a beautiful autumn day, crisp and bright. Maya giggled, throwing bits of bread, and Chloe watched her, a thoughtful expression on her face. "You know," Chloe said, her voice soft, "I never really saw you, Nora. Not properly. I always saw what you had or what you could do for me. Or I saw Mom and Dad's expectations for you and how I compared to them." She paused, then added, "It's different now. I see you." It wasn't an apology for everything, not yet, but it was an acknowledgement. A deeply meaningful one. A tiny crack in the wall, letting in a sliver of sunlight. I didn't respond immediately. I just watched Maya, watched Chloe watching Maya, and a warmth spread through me that had nothing to do with the coffee. The Sunday meetings became a ritual. Not every week, not always for hours, but consistent enough to start weaving a new thread between us. Chloe continued to share her struggles, but more importantly, her solutions. She was learning to solve her own problems, not just dump them on me or our parents. She found a support group for single pregnant women, took on extra shifts, and even started a small online business selling handmade baby accessories she crocheted in her limited free time. I saw a resilience in her I'd never known existed, buried under layers of learned helplessness. My parents, of course, were still a factor. After the house sale, they had gone through various stages of shock, anger, and finally, a sort of bewildered acceptance. My mother, in particular, would still text me occasionally, trying to gauge my level of softness towards Chloe. "Your sister is working so hard, Nora. She could use some help with the rent this month, don't you think? Or Chloe's so tired, Nora. Maybe you could take Maya and the baby for a weekend when she arrives." Each time, I replied calmly and firmly, "Mom, Chloe is handling her finances. We talk regularly, and she knows I'm here for emotional support and advice." Or, "I'm happy to visit and help Chloe with the baby, but I won't be taking on weekend care. Chloe is a capable mother, and she needs to build her own routine." It wasn't easy. There were still moments of guilt, that ingrained sense of responsibility tugging at my heart. But the peace in my new home, the joy of raising Maya on my own terms, reinforced my resolve. Olivia was my rock, always reminding me that healthy boundaries were an act of love, not cruelty. Brendan tried to re-enter Chloe's life a few times. He'd show up at the coffee shop, trying to sweet-talk her, promising to be a man for their baby. Chloe, however, was a different person. She developed a quiet strength, a self-possession that surprised even me. I remember one afternoon, watching from across the park as Brendan tried to corner her outside the coffee shop. She listened for a moment, then calmly handed him an envelope. I learned later it was the legal paperwork for child support. He looked stunned, his usual bluster deflating. She simply turned and walked back inside, head held high. That was a watershed moment for me, seeing her truly stand on her own 2 feet. As Chloe's pregnancy progressed, we started having more genuine sister talks. She'd confide her fears about motherhood, her anxiety about providing for her daughter, the crushing weight of loneliness she sometimes felt. I listened, offered advice from my own experience with Maya, shared stories of my own sleepless nights and moments of doubt. I bought her a stroller, a practical, sturdy one, not a designer splurge, and a few bags of gently used baby clothes Maya had outgrown. I helped her assemble a secondhand crib she found online. These were tangible acts of support, offered willingly, without expectation and, crucially, within my carefully established boundaries. This wasn't me enabling her. This was me supporting a sister who was actively working to build a better life for herself and her child. The shift in our relationship became even more evident when the topic of a baby shower came up. My mother, bless her heart, had already begun planning an extravagant affair, sending out invitations to the entire extended family, assuming I would co-host. "Nora, I've already put down a deposit on the community hall," she'd chirped over the phone. "And Chloe mentioned a royal purple theme, so I've ordered balloons. You'll handle the catering, won't you? It's the least you can do for your sister." I took a deep breath. "Mom, Chloe isn't having a shower at the community hall. She's planning something small with a few of her friends from work and her support group. I'm going to that one, and I'm bringing a cake." My mother was predictably outraged. But the whole family. "What will people say?" "They'll say Chloe is making her own choices, Mom. And I'm supporting her in that." It was a hard conversation, one that left me feeling drained, but I held my ground. Chloe's baby shower was indeed small, held in the community room of her apartment building. It was intimate, joyful, filled with laughter and practical gifts. I saw a community rallying around her, a network of support she had built herself, without me or our parents as the central figures. Watching her, genuinely happy, surrounded by people who respected her independence, I felt a deep sense of peace. This wasn't just about Chloe growing up, it was about me letting go, too. Letting go of the burden of being her keeper, and instead, just being her sister. The call came in the middle of the night, a frantic text from Chloe. "Water broke. Contractions close. Can you come?" My heart leaped into my throat. This was it. The moment I had been preparing for, emotionally, for months. I called Olivia to come over for Maya, then grabbed my keys. The hospital room was a whirlwind of controlled chaos. Chloe was pale, but surprisingly focused. There was no drama, no wailing, just intense concentration. She gripped my hand, hard, through each contraction. "I can do this, Nora," she whispered, a fierce determination in her eyes. "I have to do this." And she did. Hours later, with a final, powerful push, a tiny cry filled the room. My niece, Lily, was born. She was tiny, impossibly perfect, with a shock of dark hair and the loudest cry I'd ever heard. Holding her, a profound love bloomed in my chest, a different kind of love than I felt for Maya, but equally powerful. Chloe, exhausted but beaming, looked at me, then at Lily, then back at me. "She's beautiful, isn't she?" she rasped. "She's perfect, Chloe," I said, tears blurring my vision. "Absolutely perfect." Our parents arrived a few hours later, bustling in with flowers and balloons, their initial attempts to take over the room quickly, but gently, thwarted by a new, united front from Chloe and me. My mother tried to scoop up Lily, but Chloe politely intervened. "Mom, I just want a few minutes alone with her. We'll call you when we're ready." My father looked bewildered, but my mother, for once, complied without a fight. The sold sign, I realized, hadn't just been for my house. It had been for the old family dynamic, too. Watching Chloe navigate the first few weeks of motherhood was a revelation. She was tired, overwhelmed, but fiercely devoted. There were no calls for me to come bail her out, no demands for money. Just calls asking for advice on swaddling or a quick chat about baby sleep patterns. I visited often, bringing homemade meals, helping with laundry, letting Chloe shower or nap while I held Lily. It was true sisterhood, built on mutual respect and genuine care, not on obligation. Lily was a beautiful baby, and Maya, now a curious and articulate toddler, adored her. "Baby Lily," she'd exclaim, pointing at her tiny cousin, an eagerness in her voice that melted my heart. The condo, once just my peaceful sanctuary, now felt even more like a home, filled with the echoes of both my daughter's laughter. My relationship with my parents remained somewhat distant. They never fully understood why I cut off my sister, as they still saw it, or why I refused to allow them to dictate my life. But they also saw Chloe's transformation, the responsible, capable mother she had become. They saw that Lily was thriving, that Chloe was succeeding. Slowly, grudgingly, their interference lessened. They learned that if they wanted to see Chloe and Lily, they had to respect Chloe's boundaries. If they wanted to see Maya and me, they had to respect mine. It wasn't the ideal, happy family they'd always envisioned, but it was authentic, and it was healthy. Brendan faded completely out of the picture. He occasionally tried to send a text or two to Chloe, but she was too busy, too focused on Lily and her own future, to be drawn back into his orbit. He was a relic of a past life, a past Chloe had resolutely left behind. Life settled into a new rhythm. My condo remained my peaceful haven, my career continued to thrive, and most importantly, my relationship with Maya deepened in a way that truly nourished my soul. Olivia and I still had our regular coffee dates, now often with Maya joining us and sometimes even Chloe and Lily. We talked about everything, from dating woes to career ambitions to the endless mysteries of toddlerhood. Our friendship, forged in the fires of my family drama, was stronger than ever. One sunny afternoon, nearly 2 years after the bye-bye house incident, I found myself back at the park. Maya, now a confident little girl, was chasing pigeons while Lily, a bright-eyed toddler, giggled in her stroller. Chloe sat beside me on the bench, sipping her coffee, looking more content than I'd ever seen her. "Remember that day?" she asked, gesturing vaguely towards the playground. "When I first came to your coffee shop, I was so scared." "I remember," I smiled. "And I was terrified I'd made the biggest mistake of my life." She chuckled. "Well, we proved them all wrong, didn't we? Mom and Dad, Brendan, everyone who thought I couldn't do it." "More importantly," I said, turning to her, "you proved it to yourself. You always had it in you, Chloe. You just needed to find it." She looked at Lily, then at Maya, then back at me, a profound gratitude in her eyes. "And I couldn't have done it without you, Nora. Not just because you sold your house, but because you finally stopped being my safety net. You forced me to grow up. And for that, I'll always be grateful." I reached out and squeezed her hand. It wasn't the kind of dramatic, tearful reconciliation you see in movies, but it was real. It was honest. It was the messy, beautiful truth of sisters who had found their way back to each other, not through obligation, but through hard-won respect and genuine love. This journey, from being the responsible one to the selfish one in my family's eyes and finally, to simply being me, has been the most transformative experience of my life. It taught me that true strength isn't about carrying everyone else's burdens. It's about setting boundaries, honoring your own needs, and giving others the space to find their own strength. It's about understanding that love, true love, thrives not on enabling, but on empowering. And so, my story ends not with a grand triumph or a dramatic finale, but with something far more profound: peace. The quiet, everyday peace of a life lived on my own terms, surrounded by genuine connections and the unwavering love of my daughter. A new story, a better story, built from the ashes of an old house and an even older family dynamic. Looking back, the sale of that house wasn't just a transaction. It was an emancipation, an investment in myself, in Maya, and ultimately in a healthier, more authentic version of my family. It taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone, even family, is to let them fall so they can learn how to fly. And sometimes, bye-bye house truly means hello to everything you never knew you needed. What about you? Have you ever had to choose between your own peace and the expectations of your family? How did you navigate it? I'm so curious to hear your stories and insights. Drop a comment below, and let's keep this conversation going. Your experiences matter, and we can all learn so much from each other.